So Rock Girl Jessica, I'm here with FM99. We have Dustin from Starset. How are you today, love?
Great. How's it going?
Awesome. So you're just kind of getting back out into the scene, and today we have a small acoustic set. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I guess maybe 3 months ago, Ron and I from the band, we were trying to, we were booking a show or a tour for November and realizing that COVID was going to open up a lot quicker than we had guesstimated. So we decided we had to come up with something to get back out here quicker, and decided upon the idea of doing an acoustic run where we just play for 100 fans every night in non-typical venues. So today we're at a brewery. We're pumped about that. And just to get out, meet the fans, hang out with the fans, get the, knock the cobwebs off, and then meet with the radio stations as well. Yeah, and promote the new record that's about to come and the single.
So tell me about your new record that's about to come.
Yeah, been working on it for quite a while during COVID. Built a log cabin in Ohio to get away and focus on it, and recorded it there as well. Just wrote it and recorded it there. There's 15 songs. I couldn't, I guess, stop writing. I think wrote over 50 tracks, but settled on these 15, and it's going to come out here very shortly.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so during COVID, did you feel like you had writer's block? But I guess not. You had the opposite.
At first, there's maybe some writer's block. I was trying to write a little bit, but didn't get many good ones till further into COVID. I guess it was weird at first,
It was so weird.
Yeah. And then there's the aspect of doing the Divisions record, working on that for 2 years, and then not getting to tour. Usually you finish an album, then you do some clubs, and then you do the festivals, and you do the international, you do the and it provides a sort of, they call it an album cycle, and it's a cycle for us as well. And towards the end, you start to get the energy to write again. This didn't have any of that, so it was like work on a record, COVID, do it again. So it made it a challenge.
So did you write things acoustically and then you can play them? Because I know you don't usually play acoustic. I saw your last show at the Norva. It's not acoustic. It was out of this world. How would you describe your music?
Yeah, well, we blend hard rock, cinematics, the strings and all the other elements, and orchestral elements, symphonic elements, and then electronics. So there's sort of three things, and on every album sort of change that up, whether the rock gets a little more metal sounding or a little more prog or gent in the guitar. And the songs, though, tend to be epic, a lot of them, and it does translate to acoustic nicely, but it is the polar opposite, and it's nice to show that and put it on display, and it accentuates some of the melody and the lyrics, and it puts a different light on the song. So it's a fun challenge, and it seems to work for most of the songs. Some of them they still sound like rock, but most of them work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be partial.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you write your songs? How do you go through the process? You said you build a log cabin. Is that
Yeah.
Step one?
Didn't build it myself. Hired the Amish. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So try to do the album in a different place every time. One was done in Maine. One was done in Nashville. One was done at my house in Columbus. This one, Northeast Ohio, in the middle of nowhere, sort of. I guess the people in my hometown would not call it the middle of nowhere, but for that area, it is. It's on a lake and stuff, because it was very close to my hometown where we did this one. But, being in a new place gives you a new vibe. And whenever you're somewhere new, there's maybe an open-mindedness, or just it just clears your mind a little bit. So that's the idea there. And then also getting away from everything to not have distractions. But the writing is done sort of everywhere, and I usually start with the music, get a vibe, and if it's good enough to keep working, then work on the melody, come up with a concept, do the lyrics, and they continue to build, change parts constantly. But yeah, it's an iterative process.
And what inspires you to write your music?
It's different for all of them. Sometimes the inspiration is from elsewhere. Sometimes it's internal. But there's, with the band being space, sci-fi, and sort of dystopian oriented, always finding a concept that works within that, but also can be relatable to just people listening along. It keeps it from being too heady. I like it when people hear the songs, even though it's on pseudo like concept band, it's still very relatable. That's the goal.
Yes, your music is very different. So who would you say inspired you, like, as far as people?
As far as people, as opposed to like in terms of like the music, or just
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be a musician, but don't you have maybe a few?
Well, there's plenty of inspiration, but when it comes to the science and sci-fi, that's I got a Tesla on my back of my arm, and
Okay, so Tesla inspires
Einstein.
you, who's not a musician.
No, but
that's okay.
Doesn't really inspire the music though. Maybe indirectly, some of these things inspire the vibe and the visual.
Yes.
The music is inspired constantly by numerous groups, and groups from when I was a kid. I guess I loved Phil Collins when I was a kid, only because my mom.
I'm not gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, so my mom loved Phil Collins.
Okay.
So
he's a classic.
Yeah, so as a result, and that's what made me want to play drums.
Okay.
Then I discovered Weezer, and that made me want to write songs.
Oh wow.
And Metallica made me want to be in a band. So the trifecta
me
there.
too.
And then since then, gotten in high school and on, it was numerous bands. Breaking Benjamin was an early one, which is cool because now we're like friends and we tour, and we're always that's been an amazing thing because went from like super fan of that band during a certain part of my life to like being buds with Ben. So that's been cool. Deftones and Pantera, all these tons of bands on that side, but then electronic, numerous bands you might be like, okay, cool, I don't know any of them. And then on the cinematic side, Hans Zimmer and various other composers of movies, and that's all sort of blended in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever travel and hear like a different kind of music and then find yourself?
No.
It's
that. Yeah, that's very much. I mean, that happened a lot in the '80s and stuff, right? When they just, like Paul Simon goes to Africa and then brings back I
feel like Incubus went on a vacation and came back and they had like all these new Caribbean sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Caribbean thing actually was very popular last couple years in electronic and dance music, but sometimes that's just a trend, I get inspired by sounds in movies a lot, and then just
sci-fi movies.
Of course, yeah.
Awesome.
The movie Arrival has a really cool soundtrack, and maybe was inspired by that, which is interesting because the guy who wrote that was listening to our record a ton while he was writing that, so it comes full circle.
Oh wow! So do you think you'll be in some movies coming up then?
I would love to make a movie if we get the budget. Yeah.
And what would it be about?
The narrative of the band. There's another novel that will come out eventually, and that would be awesome to be a movie. But in the meantime, we'll be doing music videos around that, little vignettes of it.
I think your fans will be looking forward to that.
Yeah, believe me, they ask me 30 of them a night. Like, where's the book? Where's the movie? But
no pressure, but hurry up.
Yes, seriously. That's what it feels like. But I focused maybe a little too much on this record, and so the book's going to be pushed back a little bit.
Recently, you did a cover of Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. What made you choose that song?
Amazon hit us up to do an exclusive song, and they wanted it preferably to be a cover. And I've sort of poo-pooed covers in the past, but people misunderstood what I was saying. I'm not a huge fan of coming out of the gates on a record with a cover because, and it's nothing against any band. I just think those bands are all great and they'd be better served to push their own music. And the music industry is really pushing for covers. And I just wish that bands can do whatever they want, but I wish they would push back because we need to make rock cool and we have to, bring the spotlight back to it. And covers don't do anything for that. They just sort of, the labels might disagree. They might think that, the cover gets people to hear it and then they hear the rest of the music, but it seems like a cop out a little bit. But it is fun to cover songs, and I think it's awesome that bands do that. So it's just this single thing. But when it came to the Amazon thing, they wanted to cover. So we're like, all right, what's it going to be? I came up with a list, and Kashmir, which we did, wasn't on the list at all. I just went with Rob Graves, my friend who produces some of the music, and it came up maybe the second day of working on stuff, where I was telling them how Kashmir influenced the sound of the band. It was the first cinematic sounding song I'd ever heard, and I think I carried that with me since then. We got inspired by that. Other things like TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, was really inspired me as a kid. I thought that was amazing that they could make Christmas songs sound cool and incorporate the heavy guitar. But Rob, when he heard that, was like, that's like my favorite song, and I've always wanted to produce that. And so I was like, well, it's Zeppelin. People are going to hate on that. It's Zeppelin is considered sort of off limits, I think, by a lot of rock fans. But we were like, screw it, we'll do it. And it turned out pretty awesome. Currently, it's an Amazon exclusive, so I think a lot of people haven't heard it.
No, I tried and I couldn't.
Yeah, it's hard to find if you don't have Amazon.
I didn't know
music.
Look on Amazon. Look on Amazon, everybody.
Yeah. I think they leaked it on YouTube.
They took it off.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I figured that was going to happen.
Yeah, I was looking for it.
But they only have exclusivity for X amount of time. Sorry, Amazon, for letting people know this.
He's got to pay for his rocket somehow.
But eventually, they're gonna it'll be on everything, so you can hear it then if you don't have Amazon Music, or get Amazon Music. I think that's the point.
The point.
So
okay,
hopefully people dig that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna check it out. What are you going to be performing tonight acoustically? Could you tell me about some of the songs, maybe?
Well, we started with just a couple surprise ones, and then we spin a wheel. We let the fans spin a wheel. They get a ticket if their number's called. They spin the wheel, and we play whatever they land upon. And then they can win stuff.
No way.
Yeah, you got to keep it exciting.
That is exciting. And there's only 100 people, so it's a very intimate show, which I think is nice. I'm sure the fans love that.
Yeah, it's great. We were like, oh, this is going to be super easy. So we booked 31 in 33 days.
So easy.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really factor in the talking to 100 people after, because we'll hang out for an hour and a half at least. And that's the only challenge, is not losing the voice talking so much.
You have a lot of diehard fans, and I think that they really appreciate that time with you.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do. Especially after not being out and about for 18 months, coming back and giving them our energy is cool.
Well, on behalf of all the fans, I'd like to thank you. And on behalf of FM99, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.